protests over property assessments.
I'm 80, retired, and have a double tax. That's just too much.
A rising cost in Jackson County that could cost someone their home.
I have a neighbor that his went up 100%. How does it go up 100%?
Communities fed up with the system they say isn't working.
We want to be treated fairly. Where is the transparency? Where is the accountability?
And major disagreements on how to fix it.
What you are contemplating doing is going to create an enormous amount of inequity around the county.
The point is that we say and do something in absence of nothing.
Tonight, we get to the center of the problem, explaining how we got here and holding leaders accountable.
How will you prevent other errors if there was this error?
There are always going to be errors in this process. It is not a perfect system.
Good evening. I'm Kevin Holmes outside the Jackson County Assessor's Office, where many of you have come to appeal your assessment, all in hopes of saving some money. KSHB 41, a voice for everyone. So we talk with people directly impacted by this issue to represent their perspectives and to get them answers on what exactly is happening here. Our I-Team, in fact, has been digging into this very same issue for months now. I'm joined by our senior I-Team reporter, Jessica McMaster. Jess, I know you spent so many weeks talking with so many folks in our community. It's been really a rough 2 months for many of them.
Kevin, we've spoken with so many people who say that they are worried, they're angry, and they're doing everything they can to fight these increases. And while it's true home values in Jackson County have been priced too low for years, homeowners want the county to be held accountable for the abrupt increases and the mistakes made along the way.
I'm 80, retired, and have a double tax. That's just too much.
All of Kansas City needs to get together to help everybody on this.
That's exactly what Jackson County homeowners are doing. Coming together in rooms to learn how to appeal.
This is our third workshop.
Coming together on the lawn of the courthouse in protest.
It's like they don't want us to keep our property.
While homeowners come before the county by the hundreds, they come together as one.
We want to be treated fairly. To stop treating the citizens of Jackson County as mere ATMs.
It happened before.
The county did not learn their lesson and were put back in the situation again.
Literally was the final nail for the coffin.
In 2019, residents received mass assessment increases. It was an effort to fix thousands of undervalued homes. This time, our I-Teams uncovered stunning assessment errors like a 1,000% increase.
I would have known I was a millionaire, I'd retire.
Computer glitches.
I have an appeal and I have a BOE number and it has disappeared.
The county is obligated under state law to reassess home values every 2 years. It entered into an $18 million contract with Tyler Technologies to help do the job. But the increases in mistakes are hurting homeowners, like 83-year-old Jackie Dudley.
When I received it in the mail and read that it was raised by 97.72%, I almost had a stroke.
Veterans.
It would have cost me almost close to $800 additional a month.
Small business owners.
Maybe turning 2 properties over to Jackson County.
And people with disabilities. Robert Sapp is legally blind. He's afraid he'll lose the only home he knows.
I know my way in and out of the house from all exits. Yeah, I feel very safe there. What I'm afraid of, I'm going to lose that.
With just days to file an appeal, the community continues to come together with a resounding message for the county. The mass appraisal process didn't work.
Stop this process and roll it back and get it right.
The increases and disparities have many homeowners asking how the assessment process works.
Indeed. KSHB I-Team investigator Caitlin Canoe took that question to an expert who works at Wichita State University.
What an assessor is supposed to do is come up with the fair market value of a property. And then there are state laws that vary from state to state on how that actually translates into the assessed value. But again, the appraiser's office job is simply to say, here's how much this property is worth, and everything else is mechanical after that. But it's important to remember that the taxes that are actually paid are the function of the assessed value of your property for tax purposes and the mill levy that all the local jurisdictions put together for that.
Longhofer also says the increase in assessed property values really isn't unique to Jackson County. In fact, he said this is a trend experts are seeing nationwide. Check this out. This isn't a Taylor Swift concert. This was the turnout for one of the many appeal workshops over the past month or so. Thousands of residents have attended these events to get help with their appeal and try and save some money here. So how do you contest or appeal your assessment? That's the question. You have several options here. You can schedule an appeal on the Jackson County website, or you can call the number on your screen right there, 877-895-9675. The county extended that deadline to July 31st. Well, one of the homeowners who had issues with their assessment has quite the story. I'm rejoined now by our I-Team investigator, Jessica McMaster. Jess, I understand you received a tip about a woman who was stunned by a $2 million assessment on a $200,000 home.
Kevin, this woman thought she was going to have to sell her home. Our I-Team went out to her property and spoke with the county to find out how an error this big could even happen.
He wanted land, I wanted a porch, so here we are.
This is Selena Contreras' dream home. She shares it with her husband and dogs.
It's like you're in the country, but you're not.
Nestled on 7 acres, affordable acreage too, Selena's home value's been around $200,000 for the past several years.
If I would have known I was a millionaire, I'd retire.
Contreras never received this year's tax assessment in the mail, but when a neighbor suggested she look online, oh boy.
It went from $200,000 to $2.1 million.
Here it is, a 950% increase.
How much would our taxes be for a $2.1 million assessment?
I think he said they'd be about $40,000.
About $40,000 a year.
It's a tax bill that could have automatically come out of Contreras' escrow account, according to 25-year veteran appraiser Chris Wolfenbarger. We called him to look into Contreras' assessment.
She wasn't notified ever by the county that her assessment had gone from $200,000 to $2 million. And because of that, you can't fight, you can't appeal, you don't know. If she didn't have a neighbor that was looking out for her, she'd be on the hook for it, and that's what makes me furious.
I see why you like it out here. We don't know how many property tax assessments Jackson County got wrong, but everyone in this workshop is learning how to appeal their increase.
We're seeing 100, 200% increases across the board in the city.
Tyler Technologies is the company used by the county that generates the property values. An $18 million contract paid for by taxpayers like Contreras.
We, as taxpayers, are getting screwed.
Taxpayers who are now hiring people like Wolfenbarger for an appraisal in order to appeal.
I've got comparables that are on similar acreages with similar homes between 260 and 351.
The I-Team learned Contreras' home was evaluated as commercial, driving up a false value that an algorithm spit out.
To go from 200,000 to 2 million is a computer error that is so egregious that a human oversight should have caught that and didn't. Blatant incompetence, blatant, absolute theft. Theft. Let's just call it what it is, theft. If you assess my house so poorly after you've been paid $18 million to do it right, and I got to pay Chris Wolfenbarger $500 to come out and prove you wrong, you stole $500 from me because you didn't do your job right.
Who's at fault here? Somebody put this number in. I don't know who, but whoever looked at it and passed it, they need to be asked why and how.
Someone needs to be held accountable.
Somebody absolutely needs to be held accountable.
Kevin, here's the thing. The Contreras home was assessed as commercial, not residential. That's why it was priced so high. It is on the homeowner to identify these errors and take those to the county. Contreras did that, and they fixed her assessment almost on the spot because it was so obviously wrong. But in most cases, homeowners are going to have to appeal. So far, more than 40,000 people have filed appeals this year. 8,000 of those are now resolved.
Oh, I'm glad she got hers resolved, Jess. Thank you. Still to come.
I was angry enough to ask my husband, should we start looking at a house someplace else that's not Jackson County?
Struggling with her appeal, one resident turned to our I-Team for answers. The results we got.
Such a mess.
Frustrations mounting over assessments that could cost some families thousands, and some even say could really even cost them their homes. Welcome back to our special, going in-depth on property assessments in Jackson County. Now, as a voice for everyone, we're engaging with the communities that are most impacted.
And this issue does not just impact homeowners, it's impacting small businesses and people who live in apartment buildings all across this county. We spoke with the owner of a 4-unit complex on Van Brunt. He says his tenants are worried about the future and the uncertainty. He tells us he hopes more people will appeal to get the attention of the county.
If Jackson County wants to make people homeless, they've done a good job. And I don't think that's actually what they want, but it is the practical implications of how they're handling the situation.
As for small business owners, we met Western Capel, who owns an auto repair shop in Independence.
And listen to this. One of his buildings jumped 774% in value since last year. Capel says he was planning to shut down his business for a while, but this year's assessment was the last straw.
There hasn't been any improvements done on the property, so I felt like it had to be a mistake. The truth is that pretty well puts us out of business.
Despite closing, Capel says he would file an appeal, and he's not alone. Thousands of residents have filed online and in person.
And at least one homeowner says she filed her appeal online, and days later, she couldn't find it in the county system. She spoke with KSHB investigator Cameron Taylor.
This is such a mess. This is such a mess.
It's a familiar frustration for Christine Taylor Butler, who's appealing the assessment of her Jackson County home for the second time in 4 years.
Yeah, I was mad in 2019.
Now she says the assessment department got it wrong again.
I'm angrier now.
This time, she doesn't think her Hyde Park home is worth the $533,000 the county says it is, an increase of nearly 40% from 2021.
I let the house go for 4 years, no repairs. So it needs more work now than 4 years ago.
Taylor Butler filed an appeal in person at the assessment department on June 26th.
And this was printed out by the assessment department.
KSHB 41 spoke with Jackson County Director of Assessment, Gail McCann Beatty, about the errors in the system.
It is not a perfect system. And that's why I say this is a partnership between the public and the county assessment office for you to let us know when those things happen.
Taylor Butler did let the county know with this appeal. If homeowners want to file an appeal, they have to create an account on a program called Smart File. Once they appeal, it's automatically put into the system. The county tells us homeowners should receive a confirmation email.
So I said, let me go online, and poof, it's not there.
Another thing missing.
I have an appeal, and I have a BOE number, and it has disappeared.
We reached out to the county to get answers for Taylor Butler. The county confirms it does have her appeal, but on her end, she can't see it.
Have you heard about this issue?
Yes, I've heard it from several different angles.
Jackson County legislator Manny Abarca says this adds another burden on homeowners.
Unfortunately, another requirement being placed from the assessor's office on the homeowner, the taxpayer, to just be diligent in the collection and saving of all documents.
If you're filing online, Abarca recommends taking a screenshot of your appeal and keeping your records for proof.
It's very frustrating.
It's made Taylor Butler wonder if her home is worth keeping.
I was angry enough to ask my husband, should we start looking at a house someplace else that's not Jackson County?
The county contacted Taylor Butler after we reached out and confirmed she could not see her appeal because she didn't enter an email address. Very important to note here, if you can't file your appeal or find it online, just enter your parcel number without dashes and it should pop up.
The county also says they resolved her appeal. Taylor Butler tells us they agreed upon a market value of $385,000. That's more than a $100,000 difference.
A big difference indeed. Still to come, holding the county accountable.
Is the county getting what it wants, what taxpayers have asked for through Tyler Technologies?
The answers we got when we went to the county with your questions.
How do you prevent other errors if there was this error?
Holding the people in charge of your assessments accountable. We're asking tough questions about an issue that matters to you. Welcome back. You know, being a voice for everyone means going beyond the headlines. That's why KSHB 41 is going in depth on the property assessment saga here in Jackson County. While people are appealing in hopes of saving some money, they're also demanding accountability from the county. Many even protested on July 8th outside the county courthouse.
10% of the people vote during these local elections. Come on.
They need to not just sit at home and watch the TV and complain. You know, they need to get out and be proactive.
Another way residents are seeking accountability, a lawsuit filed last month. The 16-page lawsuit addresses one key issue according to plaintiffs. They're claiming the county did not notify some property owners of their tax assessments before June 15th. That's a deadline set by state statutes, which in an interview, Beatty said she was met by a third party they contract with, Tyler Technologies. Our Abby Dodge questioned the county's director of assessment.
Do you feel like what is being delivered at this moment is worth the money that's being paid to that?
Absolutely. If given the condition that our data was in when I got here, there was no way to move forward without doing the parcel by parcel review. We had to have a new system.
You know, you've been asking us so many questions about the assessment process. KSHB 41 reporter Megan Abundis took those questions and got answers from the assessment director.
I do understand people's concerns, so that does not fall on deaf ears.
Gail McMaster says on average, people are seeing a 30% increase on their property, but we've seen 50, 80, 100, even higher than that. The full waiting room, a dead giveaway that thousands want to appeal.
I understand everyone is struggling with having to pay more. My function is to place property values on all the properties in the county. What I have encouraged people to do is to pay attention to each of their taxing jurisdictions and make sure that they attend their levy meetings, because it's the levy rates that actually determine what their taxes are going to be.
And the company that was contracted for $18 million.
We were dealing with a legacy system that was more than 20 years old that literally did not function and the vendor no longer serviced. So it was important that we get a new state-of-the-art, up-to-date system in place. Second thing we did was a parcel by parcel review. That is something the industry says you should do every 10 years or so. It had been a number of years since the county has done one, probably the 70s. So we did that.
She says they'll work with Tyler Technologies through the 2025 assessment. We talked with McMaster about the process. She says there were faults along the way.
How will you prevent other errors if there was this error?
There are always going to be errors in this process. It is not a perfect system. And that's why I say this is a partnership between the public and the county assessment office for you to let us know when those things happen. We are human. It is humans that are going out and getting this information. So whether you accidentally transpose a number or put a number in a wrong spot, that is always going to happen. And that's why we constantly are doing quality control, trying to verify, re-verify that information to make sure that we have the most accurate information that we can. Is it a perfect system? It's not. It's mass appraisal.
Commercial properties were calculated a bit differently through combined market sales and a commercial database, a flat increase from 25 to 30%.
How do these errors and the people who are worried about their assessments paying for them weigh on you?
It always weighs on me because I feel I face the exact same thing that they do. I've received a significant increase just like they did. I believe that if we get everyone to market value like it should be, the levies will come down and there will be a better balance.
You know, it doesn't stop there. Megan asks so much more. You can see her full 30-minute Q&A at one place, KSHB.com. Still to come, we look at how these assessments will impact your wallet. You know, with all these issues that have come up with these assessments, taxpayers are asking, how will these assessments impact their wallet? That's the question. KSHB 41 senior IT reporter Jessica McMaster joins us with the answer. Jess?
The big thing most experts point to right now as these home values increase is the tax levy. This is the rate at which your property will be taxed. Experts say that rate needs to come down to level out the financial burden homeowners are feeling from the property assessment increases.
This is supposed to be inversely proportional, like a teeter-totter. If values go up, the percentage should go down.
There is a caveat. The average assessment increase is 30%, and oftentimes we're seeing it go even higher. Experts say even if the tax levy comes down a bit from last year, it will still not be enough, and a lot of homeowners are still going to see an increase when their tax bill comes.
Jessica, thank you for this very, very important research on this topic. If you still have questions about the assessment process, we break down how the system works on our website, KSHB.com. Just click on the assessment tab at the top of our homepage. Also on that page, you can email us with your questions and we will get them answered. Our coverage of this oh so important topic doesn't stop now. Stay with KSHB 41 on air and online. For Jessica McMaster, I'm Kevin Holmes. Thank you so much for watching.